Hello and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new episode from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very interesting and the name is SHYAEM. Now you might be thinking, what kind of a name is this? This name basically comes from the province of Kashmir, and this recipe is a Kashmiri recipe. When we talk about Kashmiri food, the Kashmiri Wazwan is very famous, and a Wazwan is basically a spread of different recipes on festive or on weddings when people come together to eat. This recipe is one of those recipes, and we'll be making today this recipe with some yogurt and milk. This recipe is a yogurt and milk based recipe. And the ingredients are very simple. We'll be making kebabs. Now you might be thinking what kebabs are. Everyone I think might know, because the kebab culture is booming throughout the world. We'll be using beef mince and a couple of other things. We shall mix it up and then we shall make small patties out of it and then fry them. Now usually you might be thinking, when we talk about Pakistani food always comprises of what? It comprises of oil or clarified butter. But today for this recipe we shall be using mustard seed oil. Now you can see this oil is towards the darker color. Its fragrance is really nice, and when you add this to the recipe, now what will happen is that the flavor of the whole recipe will change. But it will be a very pleasant flavor. It is a little stronger, or you could say on the stronger side, but it is delicious. So what will I do first? I shall start making the beef mince first. So what I'll do is I'll pick up a big bowl first, bring it over here and keep it here. Then what I'll do is I'll bring my red chopping board and I shall place it over here. Once I've placed it, I'll let you know what to do next. So once you have the board in front of you and the bowl also, what I'll do is I shall just take out the beef and I should place it on the red chopping board. You must remember one thing, that the red chopping board is always used for meat, and when I say meat it means raw. You won't be putting cooked food over here. I shall just spread this out in front of you, and now we shall start making it. So first what I'll do is I'll pick up some salt and I shall season it around, you could say, half a teaspoon. Then we shall add some garam masala, spread it out, add around a tablespoon of yogurt. Then we shall add some ginger, which shall be finely shredded. So I'll just put it over here and press it down. And the remaining we will not be needing. It goes in the dustbin. Shake it up. And always pull the strands which are at the base. Now I don't need this, I'll keep it at the back, and we shall now pick up the knife and just finely pass it through the ginger. Once this is done, we shall add all of this over here and start mixing it. Once you've made a paste, you can see all the garam masala mixing with the ginger and the yogurt and the salt. I shall start folding it. Now you have to mix it like Play-Doh. And beat it together. Why? Because this will bring the meat closer and it will make it softer. It will also help in the meat to stick to each other when you're making meatballs. So I'm just pressing it down. Slowly and gradually will take you a long way. And this is done. As you can see, it's come close, it has come together. And now we shall make the meatballs out of it. For that, what I'll do is I shall just pick up pieces, or you could say a tablespoon equal of meat, and bind it together like this. Now as you can see, I haven't added any form of flour or any form of egg to hold the meatballs together. Why? Because this is how it will be done. So now once you make it round, what you'll do is you shall just start pressing it a little bit down, just like the way you make beef patties. So just press it down slowly and gradually, keeping in mind that it needs to hold together. When this is done, keep it over here. Now like this we shall make all of the patties slowly and gradually, and then I'll show you the final look of how these beautiful patties look. So as you can see, the beef mince was ready. I made, you could say, not meatballs but something like cutlets. Okay, so this is ready. What I'll do is now I shall start cooking it. For that, what you need is you need a big frying pan, which I'll put on the stove over here. I'll increase the heat to full, and I shall add some mustard seed oil. It's also a saying in Pakistan that if you apply mustard seed oil to your hair, which sounds a little funny, you will have no hair fall. And I mean, all the old people over here still believe in it, and they still use it on an everyday basis, or you could say an alternate day basis, and it does work for them, but it has never worked for me. Okay, now this is done. What I'll do is once this comes to heat, which it is almost, then I shall add everything over here. So as you can see, the oil is hot. Now what I'll do first is I'll pick up 2 green chilies. I shall just take my paring knife and I shall split them from the center. Once it is done, I shall add them to the oil and I shall tilt it and fry them so that the oil gets a nice chili flavor, you could say. You can see they're splitting. It's splitting properly. Now I shall just pick up the wooden spatula, press it so that the seeds start coming out, and now I'll let it rest over here. Now I shall just slowly and gradually add the beef patties. And I shall let them fry. Now you need to remember that the heat needs to be on low. Keep it really less, and then place the cutlets. What I'll do also is I shall place a lid on top so that the heat is encapsulated properly, and then I shall shift it to the other stove over here. Now simultaneously we shall also start preparing the sauce for this recipe, and for that I need to rinse my hands because I just dealt with beef mince. So as you can see, the beef is basically cooking on low heat. It will cook for 4 minutes each side, that is it. Now what I'll do is I'll pick up a wok and I shall place it on the stove over here. On the other hand, what I'll do is I shall pick up this ladle and I shall just tilt this a little bit and pick up around 3 tablespoons of oil, that is it. Do not shake the beef too much. Why? Because it will start breaking, and once you change the side, what you shall do is then you will only cook it without the lid. Okay, when this comes to heat, what I'll do, I'll add some onions, and the onions need to be translucent for this recipe. So I'll pick up around 2 onions, slice them from the center, and we shall then go super close. Once I have cooked them to the point that they are translucent, what I shall do is I shall add them to the blender and process them into a super fine paste. This is done. The oil over here has come to heat. Now we shall transfer all these onions into this. The onions go here, and we shall add, you could say, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. The salt will bring the moisture out, and it will basically help the onions to get nicely translucent. Over here, it's been 4 minutes. Now I shall start turning the side. As you can see, it's nicely brown. We shall let it cook for another 4 minutes on low heat. Now we won't keep the lid back on, so I'll keep this over here. Start mixing this. You can see that the onions are getting a nice yellow color because of the mustard seed oil, because the mustard seed oil is always considered to be deep yellow. Now till the time this is cooking, we'll go for a short break, and once we're back, I'll let you know what to do next. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. During the break, I just waited for you. Okay, as you can see that the beef was ready, I took it out, and the onions are also nicely translucent, just partially brown. So what I'll do is I shall transfer all of these into the food blender or the food processor also. So try putting all of them in. Try not wasting any, because you want each and every piece to be converted into a nice fine paste, and then only you shall get the perfect taste for this recipe. Otherwise, the texture of the recipe will be completely ruined. Okay, this is done. What I'll do on the other hand is I shall just take around quarter cup of milk. This is a whole cup, and I shall add it over here. When this is done, I shall just put the cling wrap back on so that nothing funny falls in, and I shall just process this until the point it gets into a fine paste. Okay, so slowly and gradually. As you can see, it is completely transformed into a fine paste. Now what I shall do, I shall now start cooking. For this I need to first add a little bit of oil. Now remember, I have told you multiple times that the oil in which you cook the beef always has flavor. So I will not waste that. I shall pick up around a quarter cup from this, and I shall transfer it over here. Once this oil comes to heat, we shall start cooking. Because the pan is already hot, that means that the oil will come to heat quickly. For that, what I'll do is I shall just pick up some ginger, and I'll pick up my knife, which is over here, and we shall start thinly slicing the ginger. Okay, so you have to make thin slices first, like this. This would be more than enough. Then what I'll do is I shall just finely slice these. Go as close as you can. Once this is done, what I'll do is I shall now add all of this ginger over here, increase the heat to full, and cook this for at least 30 seconds. On the other hand, what I'll do is I shall also take a little bit of aniseed, which is also called saunf in our local language, and add it over here. When this is done, I'll keep the remaining on the side, remember that, and we shall start mixing all of this. Cook this on high heat for 30 seconds, and that is it. Once you're done with cooking this, I shall just pick this up and transfer all of this over here. Remember one thing, there's a lot in the jug, so try scraping it out and try sourcing as much as you can. Once this is done, I shall keep this on the side, not in the sink. Why? Because you never know when you can damage your equipment over there. Now mix it back in the oil and reduce the heat to low. As you can see, it's a nice fine paste, and in this paste we shall add a few of the other ingredients. We shall add some cumin seeds. We shall add a little bit of garam masala. Then we shall add some mustard seeds, and then we shall add 2 pieces of black cardamom. But first we shall keep it on the board and just break it down and pop it in. On the other hand, what I'll do now is I shall start mixing all of this. And as you can see, the flavor is beautiful. I can smell it over here. Now after this, what I'll do is I shall pick up the remaining milk and transfer it over here. Increase the heat to full and keep the remaining ramekin at the back. Now start mixing it, folding the milk slowly and gradually into the thick paste which you saw before. And you have to make sure that it dilutes completely and properly in the food. Once this is done, we shall pick up a few cinnamon sticks, add it over here to give it a nice beautiful aroma which will go very well with the cutlets over here. Okay, on the other hand, what I'll do is I shall just pick up the knife and finely slice the green chilies and keep going close and slow with it. Once this is done, I shall keep, or you could say, throw the remaining in the dustbin and pick everything up and transfer it to the wok over here. You want the green chilies to cook nicely. I should reduce the heat again to low and start mixing this beautiful sauce in front of us. Keep the heat on low. Always keep your flame maintained, or you could say well maintained. Why? Because you do not want the flame to evaporate all the sauce, you could say. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll pick up 2 bay leaves and just a little bit of sugar that will go in to sweeten this up. Now, as you can see, when you talk about Thai food, you add all of this to give it a nice flavor. Now what I'll do is I'll pick up some black pepper, place it on the board over here, and just press it with a ramekin. When this is done, we shall just pick all of this up and transfer it in the wok. The sauce is nice and thick. What I'll do is I shall give it a lid now. Now once I've given the lid, what I'll do on the other hand is I shall just clean up and let you know what to do next. So as you can see, everything is done almost. Now what we have to do is we have to add the yogurt. But remember one thing, whenever you add the yogurt, you will not add it directly. So I have half a kilo of yogurt over here, and what I'll do is I shall pick up some water, around 2 cups, and I shall transfer it over here. I shall transfer 2 cups of water and then I shall start mixing it. So 1 cup goes in and then the other one follows after this. You have 2 cups of water. Why? Because I want the yogurt to be nicely diluted, and then I shall start adding it over there. So now just slowly and gradually move your spatula and you'll see that the yogurt will start mixing with the water. If you want to use a whisk, you can do that also, but over here we do it like this. It's nicely diluted. It's always important to dilute the yogurt first when you have to, and then add it, rather than adding the yogurt and water together in the hot pan. Once this is done, what I'll do is I shall increase the heat over here, move this on the side, and then transfer the yogurt over here. The yogurt goes in. As I told you, it's a yogurt based recipe. I shall add another half cup of water in the bowl, so that any yogurt that sticks to the bowl, I can also sauce that. It goes in, and now we shall slowly and gradually start mixing it. Reduce the heat to medium and keep mixing and mixing. I shall give it a lid so that I can control the evaporation, remember that. And then I shall pick up some ginger and I shall finally shred it in front of you. After you shred some ginger, you shall mix it into the wok over there. Not too much, around just a teaspoonful. That's about it. The remaining goes at the back when I do not need it anymore. Now pull it and place it over here. 1 teaspoon is more than enough. I shall just pick up my knife and I shall just finely chop it. And it is done. Pick it up. This had come to boil, so I reduced the heat, scoop it, try sourcing all the juice also, and transfer it over here. As you can see, this is the juice. This is all the flavor of the ginger, which you shall not let go to waste. Now I shall mix it back. And we shall place the meatballs over here. But before that, another half teaspoon of salt goes in. Why? Because we had just seasoned it initially, which was just not enough, you could say, for this recipe. Now we shall place the meatballs in slowly and gradually. Remember, you don't have to break them. Let them rest. Do not throw them, do not toss them in. Just let them slowly and gradually settle in all the juices. Okay, as you can see, there is some juice here. This is all the flavor which we shall not let to go for waste. Okay, this is done. Push it on the side. Now I shall just shake it up a bit, give it a lid, and let it cook for 5 minutes. So till the time this is cooking, we shall just start cleaning up and I shall show you the final look of the recipe. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. As you can see, today's recipe is ready. I'll see you in another episode of Indus Cuisine. Take care of yourself, lovely people. Have a good day. Bye-bye.